Hey buddy, I'm Johnny B with Super Duper Film Company. I make videos for a living, and so I created this channel kind of as an outlet for myself, but maybe an inlet for others. For myself, I want it as an outlet because doing this job, the nature of the job that I do for a lot of small businesses and nonprofits, it's kind of lonely. I'm kind of a one-man band. I work with a lot of other volunteers and a lot of other people who are kind of individualistic to each project that I do, but I'm kind of the consistent person from project to project, and oftentimes I'm working alone. So I wanted to just create this channel to connect with other nerds out there like myself, people that are behind the camera that also might be working alone, that might be like, I'm kind of lonely, let's connect. So let's be friends. I'd love to be friends with you and talk about nerdy camera stuff. I'm gonna do an unboxing today. I'm gonna unbox a motorized slider that I just recently bought that I'm super stoked for. I'm not gonna really try and make it overly produced. I only have one light set up. I only have one camera set up. I'm not gonna do a bunch of like overhead shots or fancy B-roll. I'm literally just gonna unbox this thing. I've had a little bit of trouble finding a motorized slider that I feel like is going to be high enough of a value in production that it justifies the cost. Most sliders are really cheap or really, really expensive. And even some of the really expensive ones don't have the ability to like duplicate a shot. Sometimes when you repeat a shot, things are gonna be just a little different. And so hopefully this slider that I've researched the heck out of, and I've finally determined the one I think is right for me, hopefully this is the right one, and maybe it'll be right for you too. Today I'm just gonna unbox it, and maybe in a future video I'll kind of show the details and little quirks of it, but today it's just an unboxing. So without further ado, we are unboxing the Zeapon Micro 4 E700 slider with the PT Pons motorized unit, the one with the pan and the tilt. So here we go. First of all, this thing came in a much bigger box than I anticipated. So keep that in mind. If you're gonna order the whole unit, if you order it from Amazon, it comes in a really big box. So let's see what's inside this giant box. Probably a bunch of other little boxes. I'm guessing this is the PT Pons motorized head unit. And this must be the slider, the E700 slider. So we got the slider, we got the motorized pan and tilt head unit, and I'm gonna bring the camera a little closer as I get ready to unbox these, and let's see what's inside. Okay, we got the slider right here. We're gonna open that up first since that's kind of like the main attraction. So it's got these little cords going around it. These things are hard to cut sometimes. Okay, so you're gonna pop open the box. Inside is styrofoam. And then, oh, it's kind of a cool packaging. There's like little corners to protect it. Here's my slider. Whoop. So let me go ahead and pop this thing out. Sometimes cardboard boxes make me feel so dumb because the way they set up these tabs is like so confusing, but I did it without destroying the box. Okay, comes with a very nice case, so that's super cool. Didn't really know that that would be the case. Slider, the E700 unit. This gives you a little bit of an idea of the size, what it looks like all compact. I think this is perfect. It's the middle size. They have one larger and one smaller. I think the smaller one is gonna be almost too small for some studio work. The big one is gonna be almost too big for travel. So hopefully this strikes the right balance. Let's see what it looks like. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. That's cool. So there's a slider. Inside, beautiful carrying case. What if I just like dropped it out right there? That'd be sick. Okay, and before I remove these little protective pieces of tape, I'm gonna see what else is in the box. Awesome, it comes with some slider support arms, which I'm really looking forward to using. A lot of sliders I've used in the past, they sag way too much. So this will connect to the slider on one side and then the arm of your tripod on the other side and offer extra support. It comes with 2 of those. Most other companies make you buy those separately. We have an extra gear belt. I guess if this one breaks, there's a spare in here. And we have the Allen keys. There's one for taking off the protective plate, and there's one for all the other tooling on the device. So that's everything that comes in the slider box, really, is just 2 Allen keys, the slider itself with the detachable feet, and then also the two 700 series slider supports. So the motor for the slider connects on to this area right here. It just pops on, screws on, and the teeth on it are gonna connect with the teeth right there. And then on the other side, you have a knob. That knob allows you to adjust the tension of the slider if you're gonna be using it manually. We're gonna go ahead and take off this tape real quick and just give this thing a few test pushes on the table. Before using, please remove the screws and black plates shown in the picture and reserve them properly. For long distance transportation, it is recommended to install the plates back to prevent the slider from being damaged by falling accidentally. So we got one, and over here. All right, I just removed the top screw from this protection plate, and a plastic washer just fell right out of the back. So I'm not sure if that's important yet or not, but if you buy this, keep that in mind. When you first take these screws out, there's little plastic washers on the other side. Those are gonna just kind of fall out. Yeah, the other one did the same. So that's important to remember. Hopefully they're not needed, but you have to unscrew them all the way. There's also a metal washer at the top of these small screws that hold in that protective plate. So you got a few pieces that are gonna be really easy to lose as you're unboxing this. Okay, I see how this works now. So there's not actually a black plate. The black plate that these instructions were referring to is the very, very small black washer. And so what you need to do is you have to keep track of the hardware that comes out of those first couple of spots that you unscrew from, because that hardware is going to be used later to protect this thing in transportation. There's an area of the slider that has like a small gap, basically, where there's two different planes, and that's what allows this thing to be a double distance slider. So it's got two different sliding tracks. It's got a track that slides on top of another track. And that hardware that they gave you for protection, it basically acts as a spacer between those two tracks. All right, so now we have this thing out of the box. This is the Zeapon Micro 4 E700 slider. I really like the size of it. I'm super glad I got this size and the middle size, because I really think the small one would have been a little too small for a lot of what I want to do here in my studio. The big one would have been perfect for studio work, but it would have been just hard to transport. So I love this size. It seems like small enough for kind of a big backpack. It's heavy, don't get me wrong, it's definitely heavy, but it's portable enough to take on trips. If you are thinking about getting a smaller one, if this one still looks a little too big for you, I can kind of show you roughly what the smaller size will look like, because I have the Zeapon Micro 2, and the Zeapon Micro 2 is just a tiny bit smaller than the Micro 4 E500. Here's the Zeapon Micro 2. This is an all manual slider. It has a ton of bearings in it, so it's really smooth. I've really loved this slider. Super, super compact and portable. That's why I've loved it so much. And it's very, very smooth, but it's not motion controlled. So that's kind of what got me married into the Zeapon ecosystem. I loved what they did with this one. I've owned a couple of GVM sliders that have been subpar with not the greatest features. And I've used a few other sliders that are in a higher price category. And I just felt like this little Micro 2 has been so solid for so long. Let's give them another shot with the motorized system. So I have, and I'll let you know later if it works really well. But this is just an unboxing. So the size comparison real quick, Micro 2 on top of the Micro 4. Again, this Micro 2 is about the same size as the Micro 4 E500. And then this one that I have underneath is the Micro 4 E700. They also have a larger one. I think it's the E900. That's even larger still. So this is the motor for the slider. And the thing I really love about this over the Micro 3 slider motor is that there's a really nice screen and physical buttons. I've heard that the number 3, Micro 3, you need to use the app almost exclusively. It's pretty hard to use it without the app. So this, thankfully, has physical buttons. Cool. Okay, they're doing good so far as a company to be giving me really nice cases. Oh, and some more literature. All right, these are like kind of hard. Very rigid, super nice cases. So that's good to note. That's actually really important. here is the slider motor. This case is way bigger than it needs to be, bro. Like, what are you guys doing? I mean, this thing's supposed to be portable. I don't get why this case is so big. This is kind of weird to me. But hey, that's fine. They give you a slot for the battery. So hopefully you'll already have a battery because it does not come with one. There's your squishy battery. And then there's the actual motor itself. These are the gears that will match up with the actual slider. And then on either side, you have these small little twist knobs with screws. That's pretty sweet. That's how this thing attaches. So you got 2 mounting points to keep it on there firm, to keep those gears up against each other from left to right really well. And then the fact that they can both kind of just be like spun at once is super satisfying. So I'm just gonna try for my first time to screw these on. Oh yeah, that's okay. That's kind of fun. I don't know why that's so fun, but the way that those screws work is really cool. And now we have the motor on. So if you want to see how big it is with the motor, that's what you're looking at. You're adding probably an extra 4 inches, 3 inches. So, I mean, it's definitely expanding the size of it, but I would not recommend traveling with this attached, not only because of the size, but you could like break something. So still worth it to take it off. Yeah, so there is the unit for controlling the slider, the actual motor. It's really nice. There's this knob up here. There are left to right buttons. There's some physical switches. And so everything that you can do in the app, you can also do here on the slider with the physical buttons, which I love, just in case something were to happen to this brand or the app. We can still use it. It's not just gonna become a paperweight. Oh, and one other thing I want to note is that this motor actually has 2 different speed modes on it, which is really cool. There's a normal mode and a high mode. So that allows you to get those like slow creeping moves and those faster moves without having to compromise on some of the slower ones being jittery or some of the faster speeds not being available. So I could test that out in a future video when I actually use this thing. Today, I'm not actually going to plug this in and use it. If you want to see that, let me know. I'm planning on doing that at some point, but you can let me know and I'll put it as a higher priority. This is just an unboxing though. I just wanted to show you what's in the box. I'm really excited to open this and I wanted to see for myself. I wanted to let you guys know if you're curious about getting it. And I just wanted to practice this YouTube thing because this is my first video on this channel. So let's just make it simple. All right. So far we have unboxed the slider and we've unboxed the slider motor. Now we are going to unbox the PT Pons head unit. Another box that's the same size and a bag. And here is the Pons PT. Okay, let's see what's inside of this box, shall we? Oh, another very nice case. So everything comes in a similar case that they provide, and some more literature. And here's the case for the Pons PT head unit. I think a few times I've called it the PT Pons. It's Pons PT, my bad. And let's open that up, see what's inside. My guess is this is probably bigger than it needs to be again. It looks really big. Yep, it's not too much bigger than it needs to be. They're just giving you some extra storage space in the top, which is, I guess, nice of them. And then they also give you a recommended product placement method. So here's the products in the box. And then on the top, it shows you that little recommended product placement. So that's what you got inside of the box for the Pons PT head unit. And we got some motors. So we got one motor here. We have a second motor next to it, attached to the attachment arm. This mounting plate allows you to take one of the motors and actually use it as a surface for rotating products. So with this mounting plate, you can screw it into one of the motors and then you can place a flat surface on top and just use it to just kind of as a rotating turntable. In the back here, you have one more arm. So this is kind of neat. They have basically a little, this kind of looks like Arca Swiss to me, but I know that it's not. It's like a dovetail shaped receiver right there. And this part goes right into that dovetail shaped receiver and then just tightens down. And now you have the arm attached. The other arm, I'm guessing, is going to be the same. Yeah, just a dovetail receiver on the bottom. So you'll attach both the arms together like this. And then this whole unit right here will actually go on the slider. So that's how this whole entire thing is going to be configured. Your camera will go right here on this quick release plate. So I love that there's really big knobs for everything. That's super helpful. There's even a really big knob for the camera plate, which I definitely love, right here on the bottom. A lot of this system is toolless, and the things that are toolless have really large areas for you to grip. Overall, just from the unboxing experience, it seems like this is a pretty well thought out product. All the different pieces are really compact. They fit into cases that are fairly small, even if not a little bit larger than necessary. And so that just about wraps up the unboxing of this product. This is my first YouTube video, so if you could leave me a comment and just let me know what things you liked that I did, what things you didn't like. I intentionally left this really bare bones, really basic, because I already do this for a job. I don't want to spend a ton of time on YouTube talking about it, but I want to spend a little time because it's really fulfilling and it's fun. So if you could join the conversation with me and let me know if you want to know anything else about videography, the types of businesses that I do videos for, if you want to see any of my work, if you want to know anything specific about editing, about pre-production, about really whatever. I like all of it, and I do just a little bit of all of it. So hit that subscribe button. I'd love it if you stuck around. We could hang out and chat and become nerd buddies. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.